What's up, everybody, and welcome to ARK Survival Evolved. We're just coming in right now. We're on a typical farming Quetzal. We're gonna farm some wood, and there's been a couple recent patches and changes to the game that made things a little bit more interesting, more fun, I guess, more challenging. And we're gonna talk about them while we farm some wood. So the first thing is, this is like my third favorite dino in the game, just because it made getting wood so easy, and you need so much wood to make gunpowder and stuff like that, and stuff like cluster nades takes so much, like 50 gunpowder per. So the beaver is kind of essential. Now what they've changed is, this is how I used to farm, is I used to grab the beaver with the claws and fly around and hit every tree, and you can't do that anymore, because when you grab them with the claws and you bump anything like the floor or a tree or a rock, it's gonna take you off. So you would just bump into another tree there, and it just makes them fall out of your claws. So basically it's impossible to farm with the claws. Now you need a farming Quetzal built with a platform. Could be any type of platform you choose, but definitely can't farm with the claws anymore. So that's the first little change, and they probably changed that to stop people from being able to be dropped below the map, logging out, and then being under the map, because apparently all the big boys, all the the top raiders, right, all you tough guys, that's how you raid nowadays, is you go underneath the map and you do glitch raids from underneath the map, because you're too much of a pussy to actually farm up some dinos and do it the proper way. So we've cut down about 15 trees now. We're going to see where we're at. Got about 3,000 wood off 15 trees. That's pretty good. It's a 465 beaver, so that's the decent deep. So it's nothing special. You can get way up in the sixes if that's what you solely spec, or you get a good beaver. But hey, it's cool. So basically now you gotta farm. You gotta try not to bump the trees. When you bump the trees too much, you're gonna be bumped off the Quetzal, and you're gonna have to scoop them. So that's that. Now let's talk about all these other special little changes. So they changed the whip. No longer can your whip pick up every single item you throw on the ground. After like 2,000 pounds or 20 units, it's gonna start leaving shit on the ground, and you're gonna have to manually pick it up. So that's that. If you drop something out of your safe, and it's inside the safe, because it doesn't throw it in front of the safe, like any smart coder would do. So have it go in front of the safe, it actually goes inside the safe. All those items are garbage now. If you want to take metal out of a forge and you drop it out of the forge and it's stuck inside the forge, kiss that goodbye, because the whip will not go through walls. It will not pick up anything stuck inside any item. It will not pick up anything on the other side of a dinosaur. You will no longer be able to whip a dinosaur if you're stuck in another dinosaur and you're trying to whip, you know what I mean? You're stuck in let's say a ceiling tile, because you're Quetzal. You cannot whip the Quetzal out of the way now. You're just going to have to log out and log back in, because the whip doesn't work anymore. Great change, ARK. ARK devs there. I'm glad you're working on the game hard and diligently and making things much more useful and fun in game for us hard workers. Lastly, the last thing we're going to talk about would be, I don't know, I guess all your soakers, all your soaker dinos, like your turtles, your brontos, your Quetzals. All those dinos have basically been made obsolete, because they think they're too OP now. They think, I could understand a turtle maybe. Quetzal takes you 7 days to raise that sucker up. It takes you another hour and a half to farm up a decent saddle. And a Bronto, about the same thing, 5 days and an hour and a half. So they think if you can raise a Bronto, let's say you raise 30 Brontos over 5 days, 5 real days of working week, and then you go and spend another 20 hours farming up the mats, or 10 hours to farm up the mats to put saddles on. If you go for a 10-hour raid and soak and rinse and repeat and soak and rinse and repeat, that was too OP, that your saddle should now be worth 50%. of all current values. So your 150 saddles are now 75, your 120s are now 60, all your 100 turtle saddles or whatever are 50. They're just total garbage, and your turtles are gonna get lit up like crazy. They still eat a good amount of bullets, just make sure you know they're throwaway now and you're not gonna keep them because they're totally garbage. I mean, I invested in a good amount of Brontos and a good amount of saddles pre-hand to this patch, and they basically just shoved their finger up my bum and made me squirm a little bit and contemplate, you know, my life on ARK, because I'm not just going to be, you know, a bitch to ARK when they release more stable versions of the game, less broken versions of the game where you cannot glitch under the map, and, you know, aimbotting's not really a thing in Xbox and PlayStation. Like, the PlayStation versions are much better, much more stable, almost lag free in comparison. Now when you go on a raid, let's say you go to any server and you bring some dinos in and you start fighting, immediately you're gonna notice that the lag goes through the roof and it's basically unplayable. Yesterday I was in a nice little raid and I went up to spin a Quetzal and I get DC'd, and of course they can only fit 70 people on this trash game, so I'm immediately locked out for about half an hour. And when I do get a spot, I get stuck on the same thing that you used to get stuck on a year ago, which would be the snapshot 16, and so you gotta try it all over again. You lose your spot. It's just the best, man. I mean, how come other games can get so many more people and the stability to match, but this game, a year and a half in, is still the buggiest piece of crap? I could show you so many bugs in this game, and it's not funny. At least on Valentine's Day night, they finally took out the bugged meat. So now all your unspoilable berries, your unspoilable meat, your unspoilable vegetables, they're all back to normal timers. And I mean, you might think that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. It's just, you're doing small things and not worrying about the big things that corrupt the whole server and ruin everybody's gameplay. I mean, you have one weird person, let's say hack or something, and he gets caught and nobody knows him, and then his friend of a friend invites him in to a friggin' raid, and then everybody gets globally banned until the server restarts. And then the next thing you notice is the server that you just fucked, like, yeah, I don't know. There's dinos that you just messed in that base, and now that tribe, whichever tribe, is gonna come and retaliate, and you can't even go to that server to fight them. Like, that's some dev abuse bullshit right there. Nobody on my video, nobody I know, has ever hacked or ever done anything against the rules, glitched under the map, but these other well-known tribes, big tribes, get their dicks sucked by the devs all the time, and it's frankly sickening, the dev abuse in this game. And if you're a chick, they're gonna go far beyond that for you, man. And like, I've talked to Stark, I've talked to Evil Mr. Frank or whatever, they're great guys, but to say that this is like a fair game on an official platform where it's fair for all, it's definitely not when you're getting rated from the other side. Peace the fuck out.